right, we're going. We're good. I'm kind of nervous.
Don't be nervous.
No, we're good.
I'm nervous.
Okay. Well, we are here with Ashley.
Yes.
What's going on?
What's going on?
So, for listeners that don't know who you are, why don't you kind of give them a little introduction?
Yeah. So my name is Ashley Jones. I have many names here in Texas. A lot of people call me Ivy because my Instagram is Ivy Strong too. Not really understanding that that's not my name. But yes, Ivy, AJ, Ash. Honestly, I go with anything, but my government name is Ashley Jones.
I've never understood that term. My government name.
Government name, you know.
Like, didn't your parents name you
my
that?
parents, but we have this sheet called a social security card, a birth certificate. So
okay, that kind of makes
us
sense
official, you know.
I've always wondered that. I've heard that term so many times. I'm like,
yes,
parents work for the government.
Right.
So where are you originally from?
I am originally from Louisville, Kentucky. Moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, and then came here last year. Excuse me.
I was like, last month.
You're like, wait.
And and so you've been here now a year?
It's going on a year.
Nice. And you like it so far?
I do. Lots of opportunities. As soon as I touch down, so many more opportunities. It's just Cincinnati, Kentucky is not really a big bodybuilding, state city. So it's just kind of like go where the opportunities are. So
is that what brought you to Austin? Was bodybuilding?
Yes. So I had a coach, my first coach back in Cincinnati. And then I just knew, I was like, you know what? Some changes need to be made. Let's go ahead and see what else is out there. Love my coach, but I just knew to get to the next level, So I found Justin Mahaley, for those in the Austin area, Team Mahaley, and hired him September, I think it was 2020. 2020. And that next January of 2021, he gave me a phone call, was like, listen, I thought it was for a check-in. I was like, oh, goodness, I'm in trouble. He doesn't like my check-in. He was like, I got an opportunity for you. I was like, talk about it. And he was like, I really want you to be an assistant coach. I was like, say less. I was finding a way to get out of Cincinnati, obviously finding more opportunities elsewhere. And sure enough, this just happened. And then obviously moved down here, and then voila. So
boom. There you go. Well, I'm glad you came because I know you're probably like one of my favorite people to hang out with at the shows.
Thank you.
A lot of people that don't know, I spent a lot of last year working in the bodybuilding industry, which is strange because I actually don't compete. I have no real attachment to it. I just happen to have fallen in.
Yeah.
I always looked forward to hanging out with you at those because it was always fun. And
we had a good time.
Oh, so silly. I just I had no idea what was going on half the time.
You're like, I'm here. I'm just here.
I'm just doing things. And so was bodybuilding something you always were doing, or was it something? So what'd you do prior to that?
Yes. So I've always been an athlete since literally like 4 or 5 years old. I started out in dance, and then my teacher was always like, okay, she's flipping around in the class right now. So my parents were like, okay, let's put her in gymnastics. So dance to gymnastics to track. Took a little break in college because I was like, okay, let me just live life for a little bit. Yeah. And then when I went to Cincinnati, my sorority sister was like, okay, you have to do something with your physique because you just need to present it in some type of way. I was like, what? And she was like, bodybuilding, try it out. And at that point, I thought it was just getting on stage in a bikini looking cute. And I was like, not my style, not my style. So again, that led me to my first coach. And then 4 years with him, I obviously earned my pro card. And that's what led me to bodybuilding. So I was just like, let's do it.
And killing it now. So when it wasn't something you always want to do. And then how long have you been competing total now?
Yeah. My first show was 2016. I turned pro 2018. And and then, like I said, I earned my Olympia qualification last year.
Yeah,
so,
that was exciting.
Very exciting in Texas. So.
Right. Well, before, because I do want to go into Olympia, but for a lot of people, bodybuilding is a very confusing sport for those that don't know. So can you kind of explain to people the process of what you have to do in order to obtain a pro card first?
Yes, absolutely. So local shows, so amateurs, okay? And then you have to compete in a national show. Well, with the amateur shows, you have to be top 2 of those shows. So you have to win top 2. That makes you nationally qualified to compete within the national show. There's a couple shows throughout the year. I think there's some in June, July, September, and then I think in now November in December. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a
lot
lot
out here.
There's a lot you could choose from. So that's where you can only earn your pro card at those national shows. Okay. It's not just for, people who are in a certain division. It's literally like 35 and up. You can earn your masters or your pro card because that's the masters category. Yeah. So it's tons of opportunities on your pro card, but you have to be first place or second place within a local show.
So you have to get first or second the amateur local shows.
Correct.
And then you go to these national qualifiers.
Yes.
And so you have to win more than one national or place top, or if you just win the national, pro?
So basically it depends on the show. Okay. Some shows would win if you win overall. Of that category, you get your pro card. If you win from I did NPC Nationals back in Miami 2018, and if you won your class, so on the amateur level, there's classes. We go by height. So obviously I'm 5 foot, so class A. Okay, the shortest one. So I won my class.
Always wondered that.
Yeah. So if you look at the division, like class A will go all the way up to class like F in bikini. It'll literally look like a mountain slide because literally it's like short girls, tall girls, or men or whatever. So if you win that class, you get your pro card. So it just depends on the show, different rules. But again, that's the only show you can win your pro card. And then after that, that's when you can have fun and do as many shows as you want as a pro.
The pro shows are great. And so when you become a pro, a lot of questions I get, because obviously for a lot of people that don't know, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, there are more NPC competitors in the state of Texas than like anywhere else in the world, right?
Texas is booming.
Yeah, it's a huge place for bodybuilding.
Yes, and it's going to get even bigger and better this year.
It's getting crazy. It's exciting though. It's a really beautiful sport. It's not something I personally. You have to have a passion for.
You do.
It is a lifestyle. It's
most definitely.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, but so what like are there perks that come with getting your pro card?
It's more so, one, let me start off by saying this sport is very expensive. Yeah. Very expensive. So one of the perks is we only have to pay a one-time fee. We get the pro card. Okay. It's $250. That gives us access to compete in any show, as many shows as we want. There's a bikini competitor. She's a pro. She's done, I think 28 to 30 shows this year. Granted, you won't see me doing that.
No, it's insane.
But no, I can't. My body physically cannot handle that. But you literally have to just pay for that one fee. Now, as an amateur, you have to pay, $100 entry fee to this show. Then if you want to cross over, if I wanted to do figure and then women's physique, I'll have to cross over and pay that fee on top of that fee. Then on top of that, you have tan, you have makeup, you have this. As a pro, luckily, if you get, the certain eyes on you, you get sponsorships, so you won't have to pay for certain things like that. With the suit, you'll get sponsorships. So certain things that you can kind of get away with because you're now a pro. Exactly. So it kind of balances itself out, but there are many opportunities that come with it. Again, just sponsorships, more eyes on you. Possibly you can make a career out of this if you really make it to that next level. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and it's just amazing. It's amazing.
You're moving up.
Thank you.
I know a lot of people. Bodybuilding can, there's a lot of pros and cons to it, but one of the things too is reputation is a big part of sponsorships. And, it's something that goes into a lot of judging and stuff too. And I've never once heard anyone say anything bad about you. And I think that's been one of my favorite things too is, those shows are long. And I remember the last one I worked, I was there all day and I was so tired, and it was always nice just to hang out with you and be like, get a nice break from it. And so when it comes to Olympia, so I know you qualified the last one. Yes. How do you qualify to go compete at Olympia? Because I've met people who are like, I competed at Olympia, but then there's like amateurs Olympia.
Exactly.
And it's very misleading. So for those that are curious, how does one get into Olympia?
Yes. Well, let me back up for those who don't know what the Olympia is. The Olympia is like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. Like just like a football player strives to make it to the Super Bowl, every bodybuilder who steps on stage wants to make it to the Olympia. It's just like your moment that you've made it with the best of the world. So with the amateur Olympia, it's kind of like, okay, if you kind of want to get a taste of what it's like to be an Olympian as a pro, they do offer the amateur aspect of it that same week of the actual Olympia show. So it may be like on a Wednesday, but the big show is going to be on Friday and Saturday. So that's kind of what the Olympia is. But to earn your Olympia qualification, it's based off of two things. Points. So at the end of the season, the season usually ends maybe about 1 or 2 weeks before, the Olympia starts. And then
today's episode is brought to you by ReGen Health and Wellness. The team at ReGen Health and Wellness is devoted to helping patients revitalize, repair, and renew the optimal blueprint of yourself. They provide an individualized and concierge model of healthcare, empowering patients to optimize their health span and overall quality of life. It's said no one can escape father time, but almost everyone can make the conscious decision and commit to living better and healthier lives. It begins with a mindset. They offer both in-clinic and telemedicine consultations. So whether you're due for a routine checkup or struggling to hit your health and fitness goals, go online or give them a call to schedule your appointment today.
Each category, each division has their own list of competitors. So there's certain tiers to certain shows. So if you do a tier 1 show, first place may be 10 points. If you do a tier 3 show, first place may be 5 points or something like that. Yeah. So they look for the top 3 people with the highest points, and then they get to earn their right to be qualified for the show. That's one way. The second way is winning a pro show. Yeah. Boom, you're good to go. So yeah.
Because that was always my assumption. Again, it's like I said at the beginning. I've worked so much in the industry, but I have no knowledge on the process of it. So I'm loving it.
And so much is changing. So much is changing over the years with just the rules because, again, they're just starting to incorporate more divisions. So, I mean, it's crazy.
They recently just added wellness, right?
Wellness, yeah. And that's going to be... America is behind on that right now, but if you go to like Brazil, Mexico, like she's crushing it.
Sweet woman, absolute animal on stage.
Oh, I can't wait to see what she looks like at the Arnold.
Oh yeah, that's coming up. Yeah. So no, I mean, so you went to Olympia, and are you planning on going back again this year?
So I actually had to pull out last year, even though I qualified. I had to pull out because, like I said, my coach and I just looked at me. I think it was literally 2 days out, and he was like, I can't push you anymore. I can't push you. The show will always be here, but I need to keep you first. So we made the conscious decision to go ahead and put our health first. And at first I was kind of like, oh my God, like I always like to finish what I start. So to me at that moment, I was like, I'm failing. What am I doing? But then to hear and to get the support that I had for making that decision, I was like, thank you.
Yeah, I remember you announced it. I wasn't sure if you wanted to go into details on why it happened, but I remember when you announced it. It was, it's a smart decision because I feel like a lot of people are so, driven, and what people don't understand is those preps are extremely like. They take such a toll, and
it does.
I can always tell. Like, I'm friends with Jessica,
exactly.
And I always know. Like just by talking to her, like
when it's that time,
like are you doing a show soon?
Cause exactly. Like we get the prep phase, like everything
real chiseled and everyone, and it's always it is exhausting though for people, and so that I can't imagine how tough that would have been. But I do applaud you on taking the right decision and not trying to push it because I think health should be number one in this, especially people don't understand that. Being 3% body fat is not supposed to be all year. So when you're there, it's short term. And
yes, especially for me because I actually earned my pro card in figure, and when I came to Justin, literally 2 weeks in, he was like, "You may not want to hear this, but you've outgrown the division." And for those who don't know, the divisions are starting with bikini, and then figure. Well, bikini, wellness, and then figure and fitness are kind of the same. Fitness is more like the acrobats, the gymnastic style. Then women's physique, and then bodybuilder, and then of course going into the men's side. So from going from figure to now women's physique, where I knew I had to get leaner, my body wasn't used to that. So I was just like, here we go. Let's go for a ride right now. So again, it's just a learning process for, my coach and I, because that was our first prep together. But even with doing blood work from last November till present day, night and day. And my body was just like, thank you for giving me this break. So yeah.
Bet you were sleeping good.
Oh, sleeping like a queen.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by Avatar Nutrition. It is always a treat to show some love to our sponsor, Avatar Nutrition. Avatar is actually owned by my friend Mark, who is a lifting buddy of mine from the gym. What I didn't realize at the time is that his app has been used by close to 200,000 people, and they've used it to lose over 2.5 million pounds of pure body fat. What's really special about Avatar is that it's a complete service delivered through a super easy to use app. See, Avatar is the OG in the macros game and created a process that makes counting macros both fun and simple to stick to long term. You've got unlimited support from their community and experts on staff, and they are in the business of giving their clients results that last. Try it free on the App Store or Google Play Store for 2 weeks, and if you love it as much as I do, it's just $9.99 a month after that, or $97.99 for the annual rate if you want even more of a discount. If you're a coach, trainer, or you own any kind of business and want to use Avatar to facilitate game-changing nutrition coverage for your people, Avatar is a program for groups too. Just contact them through their website to learn more at www.avatarnutrition.com. I'm just so happy. People always ask me, are you going to compete? I'm like, hell no.
Like, no, thank you.
I love pizza. I love beer. Like, I am a gym rat first.
I get it.
There's no way I could do that. Like the diets and stuff. And we'll get into that later. Kind of elaborating on what you just said, to this day, I'm extremely confused by it. I sat at a show with Jessica.
Yes.
And for people wondering who I'm referring to, it's Jessica Reyes Padilla. And she is a phenomenal athlete and a great person. She's a good friend of mine. But I still am confused as shit is what I'm looking at. So there's bikini, wellness, figure. What are like the differences between each class? What are people looking for?
It's more of the muscle mass. Honestly, it's more because if you look at the bikini girls, they're the smaller frame. Okay. And the judges are looking for the glutes, and they still want to see that hourglass shape, but it's nowhere near going to be as much muscle mass as I do. So bikini is going to be more the smaller frame girls. Then going into wellness, this is the only category from the female side where they do not want to see the symmetry of top and bottom. So they want like similar to a smaller top, but having the thick thighs, the glutes, all of that. I mean, like thoroughbred legs. Like, it's crazy. I love it. I love the division because I love it. Just because, again, there's so many different body types nowadays. So for the league to recognize that and say, we need this division, kudos. Like, I respect that for sure. And it's starting to definitely, like I said, get a little bit more popular, especially in America now. I'm like, okay, now you're starting to separate between bikini, between figure, wellness, because we needed something in between there. Because there was too many crossovers. I was like, you're not figure, you need to stay bikini. With figure and more fitness, that's where you start to go into that, what you hear, that X frame, where they want to see that small waist, that tapered waist with the broad shoulders, wide back, and then of course the balance of the legs as well. That's where you're going to go into a little bit more leanness, but they don't want to see too many striations. Okay, going into my category, women's physique, that's where you'll see like, god damn, like okay, literally like you'll see the striated glutes and all that, like you'll see everything. And then of course bodybuilding, you just know what that is. Like it's just like cut, like exactly
just human clouds.
Muscle mass out of this world.
It's unbelievable. I one day I want to take my parents. Today's episode is brought to you by CBD Online Xpress. CBD Online Xpress is a fresh, up-and-coming CBD company that strives to offer the highest quality products at an affordable price to help you in your everyday life. They offer a variety of products such as tinctures, edibles, flower, and even their new recreational line, Oxed Up. They also have plans to introduce water and an energy drink later this year. Go to cbdonlineexpress.com and get your products today. Particularly my mom, who is like a big, like, she's really into fitness. She does her workouts every morning. She's like on bodybuilding.com. She's always asking me like,
okay, Mom.
She loves it. She does her workout. She's got a fake hip and she's still hustling. And so it's great to watch. And so
I love it.
But I thought it'd be fun to take her to a show.
That'd be dope.
Me and her, we would go to the bodybuilding.com expo they did every summer in Boise, and she loved it. And
that's amazing.
But, those were things that she'd always ask me about too, is like, what is the difference? And so, and then posing is an important part of it too. And I know, you kill it at posing.
Thank you.
I still don't understand what I'm looking at, because I was with, I think when we were all up in Dallas. I go, to me, everyone's just flexing on stage. Like, I don't know what people are particularly looking at. So every category, and correct me if I'm wrong, they have different expectations in posing. So maybe you can elaborate on that for people listening.
Like you said, so basically there's certain mandatory poses that each division has to do, okay? Some can get away with a little bit more leeway, like anything going up from women's physique and on, even with the guys like classic and all that, we get a little bit more leeway with that because we actually get a routine aspect with that. Figure and down, they literally... You just stick with the mandatories, which is the quarter turns, and you're good. That's all they look. Front, side, back, side, boom, done. Okay. But with the posing, it's an art. It's art. It's basically like if I have two sculptors right here and I'm doing the same, figure, it's going to be similar, but there's still, because of their technique, it's going to be a little bit of a difference. That's kind of what the judges are looking for. Yeah. They're looking at basically the same figure competitor, but they're looking to see what differences, what stands out, what pops. Does she have delts? Does she have the tapered waist? That's what they're looking for. Does she have the balance of the front shot with the back shot? Because you've heard the phrase, shows are won from the back. So, and that's actually a good point to bring up because a lot of times, a lot of people don't really focus too much on what they can't see in the mirror. That's why some people's front looks better than what is shown on the back. Yeah. So, it's different. Posing it's an art that you have to master. I think it's honestly harder than the actual training that I do because, it's a second workout. It is a second workout.
If people don't understand how long they have to hold, try holding a flex like pose. Okay. It's unreal.
It's unreal.
In posing in general, like you said, you couldn't have said it any better, is an art.
Yes.
And anyone that wants to know how tough posing is, I challenge them to try like a front lat spread, whatever I can't do it. But when I see some people do it, it's like they morph into a different person.
Yes, completely.
It's a really unique thing to watch. It's beautiful. It's always fun to watch how fluid they are and the transitions. And I know that's something you're really good at. You enjoy it. I can see you when you're on stage. You have such a blast doing it.
I love it so much.
Because it's kind of like dancing in a sense.
It is. It's literally me talking to you guys, telling a story with no words. It's just my body language. That's it.
It's really fun to watch, and it is something that I hope continues to grow. The sport itself is really unique, and it's one of the few things in the fitness industry that like completely separates itself from other sports because, like you said, it is an art. Exactly. A lot of other athletics and sports are performance based.
Yes,
this one is in performance based. I mean by like how much weight you're pulling or numbers and stuff. With this, it's probably the only sport I can think of where you're being judged literally by performance, not by who outdoes aesthetics. The other.
Exactly.
And today's episode is brought to you by Athena. Are you tired of oversaturated social media apps with content not related to your health and wellness interests? Well, look no further. So I recently came across this brand new health and fitness social network, Athena. Athena is a new and easy to navigate health and fitness social network. It connects you with like-minded fitness enthusiasts to share and also creates the opportunity for you to get trusted guidance and support from your peers. You can gain early access by clicking the link in our bio or scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen, but you better jump on it quick because availability is limited and spots are filling up fast. So click the link or scan the QR code and get started on Athena today. I think it's got its pros and cons to that as well because I don't know how judging works is a sense. I don't know if there's more that goes into it. And I personally, as someone as competitive as I am, I would hate leaving it in the hands of someone.
It's so hard.
And it is it's a crazy thing to watch because
it is.
I don't know. Those judges know what they're doing.
They do. They do.
I'm sitting there like, hey, that person looks pretty good. Yeah. And, whoever's sitting with me is like, their posing's way off.
It's crazy. Like, they know exactly what they're looking for. Because I remember the first show I did with Women's Physique last year. It was a Tampa Pro, and it was the week before winning Texas. And so Tyler Mannion, for those who know, he's like the head judge of all head judges right now. And
so real quick on that, can you explain what MPC is? Because MPC is obviously like the most dominant one. So then they'll know who Tyler is.
So MPC is basically the little sister to IFBB. So that's the pro side. MPC is the amateur side. And those together are literally what we have today. Okay. So Tyler, the Mannions, he created all of this that we have today.
The OG.
He's the OG. Okay. So literally when you see him, shout him out. Okay. So Tyler Mannion, he is the the grandson. So he's taken on the role, and he's done a phenomenal job with really sticking to the categories, making sure like, no, she looks good. She's the best up there, but she's too lean for the division. So I was like, yeah. So backstage, after the Tampa Pro, I got 3rd place. He came up to me and Justin and was like, come in 1% tighter for Texas. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
We said, say less.
Right.
And sure enough, we went back to the drawing board and boom. But that's when they come back and talk to you. Listen, if they say, don't come on this stage with this color suit on, I need you to wear this, or whatever the case may be. Listen, okay? Because they're trying to help you out. They're trying to guide you in the right path so that you can be in that winning spot. So, they know what they want. They know what they want. They've done a good job, like I said, with separating the divisions and keeping within the criteria. Yeah,
it's one of the few sports where I see them actively try to get people to win. It's very strange to see the people judging you also give you the tools to win.
Exactly.
I've never seen judges rooting for people, but also very strict, where it's like, listen, here are the tools, but if you don't do it, it's like you're not getting the gold here. And so they do a lot of seminars. They even do it before the shows. One of the things I learned working in the shows last year was they're even telling you how to win.
Literally.
And people still don't listen or don't go. And it's pretty mind-boggling.
It's crazy. I mean, like, we had that posing seminar at House of Gains, and it was a great turnout, but I'm like, these are free. Yeah. This is free knowledge from judges, from people who've been in past Olympias, people who have won Olympias. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be where they are. I want to learn all and anything that I can from them so I can relate that to my journey. So go. If you're a first-time competitor, go to a show, to a local show, see how the environment is, see what the overall setup is like, see how they pose, how long they pose, what the judges are looking for with the overall package from hair to makeup, whatever the case may be. So,
bodybuilding, I mean, it's really taken off now, but it's been around for so long. And so even just, I think with the incorporation of social media and how fast things spread, and then with streaming and all the everything that goes into it, the sport is just changing wildly. And so, how do you think it's changed just in the time from, say, the Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath era to today?
Social media, easily. I mean, it was present back then, but like, did they have live streaming back then? No. And shout out to, quarantine and COVID, because that was the main reason why I feel like live streaming came about, so just having that opportunity to allow us as the competitors to reach more of the masses who wanted to see us but couldn't, obviously due to the restrictions. I'm grateful for them for being able to supply that platform for us. But social media, I mean, it's things like TikTok. I mean, that's going to be the new thing, because I feel like I was just talking to my coach about it. The algorithms of Instagram is huge, and it's just like, I feel like with Instagram, some things are starting to be a little bit purposefully blocked.
Yeah, it's
weird.
I can't stand it. And and then just technology is evolving so fast, and there's so many other ones. Like, I recently just started working with a company called Athena, and it's like it's a health and fitness social network. And I'll hook you up with it later. Cool. Their whole purpose is to take all the pros of like Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, all that, and then make it to where you can connect with like your peers and go over like what's going on in the gym, nutrition. And I think things like that, as it evolves, is only going to help sports and the influence sports has on people and the outreach of it grow. And so with bodybuilding, do you think that has played a role in how like judging goes? I know that there are some salty people that would be like, oh, they have more followers. They're locked in, right? And stuff like that.
They don't, honestly, they do not. And I think I'm glad you brought that up. It's a big misconception that, the head judge is looking right before the show. Yep, she's competing. She has 1 million followers. They don't care about that. They do not care about that. You are going to present your physique on stage, and that is literally what they're judging. So all this talk about, social media is really going to help you. I mean, it's going to help you with promoting, because the promoters want you to promote their show. So maybe if they see you promoting, you bring in a crowd, okay, great. Yeah, they'll notice you. They'll see you. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be something that's going to be like, oh, we need to put him first, because no. So,
because you can't, you can't fake your way to the top.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, like, the way you look is it's only going to take you so far if you're
go.
not as good as the person that's outperforming you. And
go.
so do you think that has had also outside of social media, just the sport itself has evolved to where, do you think there's stuff that is more lenient in judging, or there's things that are more, strict and reserved as far as competitors and classes and stuff go?
I get you. I feel like when I first started, like I said, there was a lot more crossover because again, we didn't have wellness, and there was a lot where I'm like, I feel like people are just not really understanding where they should be placed. So I feel like they have done a better job with, like I said before, really sticking to the criteria of making sure like you are wellness. Don't try to jump into bikini or, figure. They're even trying to push more people to physique, which I appreciate. And I know I'm only speaking for the women's side, but hey, sorry. But like seriously. So it's just little things like that where I do feel like they are doing a better job with pushing, because I went to a seminar and I was talking to Sandy Williamson, and she's one of the amazing. If you don't know her, make sure you know her. But she definitely said, like, we're trying to do our part as a league to make sure that we are putting you guys on that platform to, get a greater outreach. But it's a two-way street. It's not just, we can't just do everything. We are doing the music. We're supplying the DJ. We have licenses that we have to do.
It's full production.
It's a production, okay? And seeing the Olympia from that was almost $1 billion, if not $1 billion production. And it's only going to advance from there. So it's just like they're doing so much. We have to do our part as well. So I think bringing that and meshing the two together, from the competitor to the, the background people and the judges and all that, I think meshing the two has done I've seen the involvement from that, and I appreciate it from the competitor side, because I'm like, like we're getting more exposure, and I think that's what we need, because I feel like bodybuilder has a bad stigma attached to it, which is why I feel like it's not on higher platforms like that of ESPN or something like that. So,
Yeah, well, the stigma thing too is it's a lot of it is just misrepresentation. Growing up in Boise, where bodybuilding.com's headquarters was my first introduction into even what bodybuilding was. And then I think a lot of people, their just initial thing is everyone's on roids, everyone's doing this, and it's like, regardless if they are or not, like you just go watch someone in prep and tell me that's not the hardest working person you've ever seen in a gym.
Thank you.
Like,
exactly.
I cannot stand that particular stigma of bodybuilding is that they only look that way because they're running stuff. And I'm like, you have not seen training. And I'll be honest, I was that person before I got involved in the sport. And I saw how strict they were on food and like all the way down to the grams and the weight of the food and what they were eating. And then their cardio regimen. People do an hour and a half or so on a Stairmaster. I'm like, I'm done after 10 minutes. Like, I'm over it.
Like, I'm good. Thank you.
And that's after lifting. And just all the stuff that goes, I can't stand that one.
It's a lot.
I do think that there needs to be, and I say this all the time on the show too, there does need to be a big shift from influencers to educators. I think that is a lot of, that doesn't help the representation of the sport. I think that both sides of the spectrum have a responsibility. As far as I think the bodybuilders need to do a better job of educating people on what their process is and not trying to mislead them. And then I think the person receiving that information needs to use better judgment. And not be like, just take a rumor and run with it.
Exactly. Agree. So, I definitely agree with you, because I'll just do your thing. I mean, we're heating it up in here. Because I was natural all the way through. Let's see, I started in 2016 and last year. I was natural all the way up to last year. But right before we obviously jumped into my first women's physique show, because again, it was a leaner division. My body's never experienced that. My coach was like, okay, I know we've talked about this, and we did. And that's another thing. Talk to your coach. Don't just get a coach and say, all right, I need you to take X, Y, and Z. No, I want longevity of the sport, and I care about my body. So he knew. I was like, as little as possible. And we stuck with that. But again, it's just like, it can be done natural. It can definitely be done natural. But do your research. Do your homework, find a coach that understands and doesn't just say, okay, you're hired. Great. Let's go ahead and get on this. for what?
Yeah.
You don't even know how you train first. You don't even know how your diet's going to respond. So
I couldn't agree more. I think that, getting, for anyone that's either in the sport now or getting started, it's don't just jump into that. You can look great natural. Yes. In fact, one of my first friends I even made out here, his name's Mario Hill. He only competes in like the natural shows like GBO. Yeah. And he looks phenomenal. Amazing. And I met him when I was working in a nutrition store. He was so scared to take anything other than pre-workout, protein, and then off season was creatine. And that was it. He never took anything else. And so I think that a lot of people are very impatient. Yes. They're very misinformed. I think that's the part I agree with a lot of bodybuilders on as far as not promoting it is because there are younger kids that look up to these guys and they want to look like them. And if that becomes more like, not that it's not public knowledge, but more promoted, you're going to start seeing these 18 and 19-year-olds jumping on stuff or getting a hold of it that they shouldn't. And so, that's where it comes down to both aspects is be smart. Stop doing dumb shit.
Just be smart. Don't, and understand your genetics is totally different from the next person's genetics. Like,
get blood work done first before anybody. Please. Get your labs done. Please. Get see if it's something that I tell a lot of people that talk to me about getting into, because this city is huge in competitors, and you meet a lot of people that are just trying and I might run this, and I'm like, don't. Make sure this is even a sport you want to do. Exactly. Like, it's a lifestyle. And so, that's kind of a good segue into a question I had with you as far as how preps work. So when you're getting ready for a show, like, what's the whole process behind all that?
Yeah. So actually right now is a good time for that because, we're going to get started probably at the end of March, early A, and it's kind of April, and early A. And it's one of those months. It's one of those months, literally. Yeah. And so right now we're in like the prep before the prep. So we're making sure like we're cutting down on a little bit of our free meals here and there. Like I do have one free meal every week, but we're kind of making sure we're keeping everything within the realm of what I know I need to leading into my prep. So it's just getting more strict with that, our food choices, and really honing in on our cardio regimen as well. Like we just bumped up a little bit more of our cardio because you want to go into a prep where you have a solid base. You don't want to just already be like, all right, I'm here, but you have to lose like a good solid, a heavy amount. And it's just like, why not lead into that? So you could easily just guide yourself into a smooth prep. So that's kind of where we are right now. And preps can be anywhere. I know Jessica, she can literally just step on stage in 8 weeks and be good to go. I wish I was like that. Okay. She's a monster for real. Some people, I would say the given range usually would be between a 12 to 20 week prep. Given that, I've heard a lot 16 weeks. So, I mean, you have to be spot on 100% to your protocols for at least 4 to 5 months. And to some people, they're like 4 to 5 months. That's almost half a year. It goes by like this. You're writing down, I'm 20 weeks out. And sure enough, you're like, I'm 5 weeks out. Yeah, it goes by that fast. But again, once you're in routine, that's why I'm a stickler for consistency. Once you're in that routine, everything is just a day-to-day thing, and it just goes by just like that. So but we're literally getting started with that. With the prep, I usually start obviously with a higher macros. I think right now I have a meal plan, but before that I was sitting at like 150 protein, 250 carbs, and like 50 fat or something like that. So this is our start, and then as we get closer to show date, that'll dwindle away a little bit. So some people will go to no carbs, some people will go to higher fats. It just depends on how your body responds to it. So and then
everyone's different.
Everybody's different. Everyone's different. I actually had to, with my training, I actually had to stop training legs 4 to 6 weeks out from my first show last year because they kept growing. So of course,
that's pretty monster.
Thank you. Thank you. So I was like, okay, to stick with the division, we had to bring it down a little bit. So luckily that worked out for our favor. But again, this is understanding your body and knowing what you can do. And that's why it takes a long time to really let your body morph. Like you said, patience. Your body is going to do what it wants to do as long as you treat it well inside and out. So
absolutely. And so with training then, is how different is each category's training? Is there like a huge huge difference between that, or do they all kind of have like a similar one, or
it's similar? It's similar. I mean, there's obviously, if you feel like you need to touch on back, then obviously you're going to probably focus on back a little bit more. I know there are some bikini girls who do not train legs. I mean, they just have good quality legs. They're just like, for me, it just doesn't, I don't have to train it, maybe once a week, if that. It just varies. I know Brett Wilkins, he is, getting ready for the Arnold. Justin just told me he trains literally almost every day out of the week and has like one rest day, but his volume is insane.
Yeah.
He can handle that. Okay. For me, I have to have at least 2 rest days out of the week. So it just varies based on your recovery, honestly. So
knowing your body. Again,
exactly.
Everyone's different.
Yeah. And knowing your strengths and weaknesses of your physique.
I think that's the important part too, with whatever coach you decide to pick too, is making sure it's custom and not some cookie cutter bullshit, because, you don't want to put someone on a training regimen that's the same as this other person who can handle it. For example, Brent.
Yes.
And so with training, then, is it for you particularly? Do you have do you do more heavy like lifting, or is it more like high intensity interval training, or does it vary as you get closer to a show?
So right now we usually stay within a program for, it could be up to 8 to 12 weeks. We go until our development kind of stops, our progress stops or stalls. So we're kind of at that point right now where it's kind of like things are starting to ache a little bit. Let's kind of do a deload and just chill for a little bit. So actually today was my scheduled rest day. I had my check-in. He was like, go ahead, let's take tomorrow off and let's see how the rest of the week flows. So we'll kind of do all of what off season is for, to grow. That's kind of what we've been in right now. There's some days where we just focus on volume and just rep quality and making sure that we are just pushing out and getting a good blood flow in, with everything. But as we go into prep, obviously what we start with usually, it would be nice to have the same strength as we would going into peak week, but it's just not realistic. I mean, you're going from a completely different body fat percentage. So things do start to shift a little bit. Like I said, 4 weeks out, I had to stop training legs. When I was getting ready for the Olympia, I stopped training I think it was 6 weeks out. So just because, again, my body was like, any extra stimulus, any extra stress, it's just not working for us right now.
Down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you just got to listen to your body. And at the end of the day, listen to your body.
Yep. Do you have like a particular supplement regimen you bring in too?
So I am sponsored by Revive and Raw Nutrition, and my go-to stack, and I feel like this is what everyone should take, whether you're in bodybuilding, gymnastics, track, or a lifestyle client. Definitely turmeric. Okay. K2D3, because a lot of us have vitamin D deficiency. I currently do, and omega-3s, because again, just keeping those fatty acids
those
in
are
you.
The best.
Of course. So those are my top 3 for sure.
All the linoleic acids.
Oh,
give them all to me.
Give them all.
Shrink those fat cells, keep you tight. They're good for your hair and skin, nails.
Absolutely.
I know a little bit.
Absolutely. You know a lot. You know a lot. And then for those who are on performance enhancement drugs, obviously definitely take the heart supplement, liver supplement. All those are
Thistle.
good. Yes, all of it is very good. Very good.
I learned about milk thistle when it was before I even got into the nutrition store. Was this guy, I was living up in Tacoma. He was my brother's friend, and he wanted to go drinking. And I was like, man, I'm just like, I can't. I was like, my body can't take it. He's like, take some milk thistle. You won't even be hungover tomorrow. And I was like, the hell is that?
What?
And I took some, and he's like, liver kidney protector. Like, he's like, watch, you'll feel fine.
Yeah.
So I did, and we went out. I felt great the next day. I was like, this is awesome. And then that was how it transitioned, and I learned into it being something that anyone that is taking, any type of performance enhancing drug, it protects you. And those are things that are very, essential. And if anyone out there that doesn't know, turmeric is great for joint.
Oh my God,
health.
yes. And inflammation. Yes, absolutely.
Joint, same with the fish oils as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that helps out a lot too.
Absolutely.
And I've talked about this on the show before too, is another one that I've enjoyed taking. I take it every day now, or shouldn't act like I'm taking it. I drink it, is Kratom.
Yeah, okay,
that's great for inflammation too. So a lot of people don't know that about it. They just think it helps with like mood and focus, but it actually reduces inflammation.
Awesome.
My hand, like I used to have really awful joint pain in my hands. Gone, completely gone. And so that's another favorite product of mine. Cool. I know a lot of people that are competing that started taking it as well.
That's awesome.
And then so with that training, diet is almost more important with bodybuilders than the training itself. Yes. So do you have a specific diet that you stick to that you know is good for you?
I am, like I said, I am a stickler for routine.
Yep.
So people would laugh when they heard this, but I literally eat the same meals every single day. For breakfast is my favorite meal. I will eat that every single day if I wanted to, all day. Like, that is my go-to. And then, yes, I have the typical rice. I have the chicken. I have green beans. I have English muffins. Like, all the staples that you've heard of bodybuilding, I'm sorry, it digests well with me, so I'm going to stick well with it. So, yes, I do stick to a T, everything.
So what is the importance of rice?
Fun fact, I used to not be able to have rice because it did used to make me bloat, okay? But again, it's more so with the carb source that you're going to be able to digest well. Okay. And obviously with fiber intake as well. So some particular carb sources are going to have higher fiber intake. And if you get backed up with that fiber, I'm sorry, you're going to have that inflammation. You're going to have that bloated feel or look.
It's the worst.
It's the worst. So
discouraging.
Right?
Hate it.
It's like, oh my God, I look like I'm pregnant, but I'm not. Literally, it's just making sure that you're finding something that you can digest well. And I found, again, now rice is it sits very well with me. English muffins, cream of rice, potatoes, red potatoes are one of my favorites as
Sweet
well.
potatoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, experimenting, and that's what an off season is for as well. Have a variety of foods. You don't necessarily just want to stick to just one thing, because again, this is your opportunity to fill your body up. It's been depleted for so long. So take advantage of this opportunity, you know? So yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah. When I got a little more strict with dieting is when I saw an enormous change.
Yes.
And, there's people that, and I know this back from my days at nutrition stores, they're so reliant on supplements. And I used to tell them, I go, yo, these are supplements, not substitutes. The diet is the most important part. And that's all I did. I made a couple changes. I cut out alcohol, and I started drinking more water.
Absolutely.
Stayed away from sugar drinks and stuff like soda and everything. And I saw a drastic change quickly too. Yeah. Like, it was faster than any supplement I could have taken.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you incorporate the substance, you just, that's what it does. It supplements the time frame.
Exactly.
And so, so for people that are thinking about getting into competing or they're just starting, like, what are some good tips for beginners to get in besides work with me?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Right. Find you first. This sport will change you. Yeah. And some is for the worse, some is for the better. But find yourself first. Go into the sport knowing who you are. Go into the sport knowing what you want, what legacy, what impact you want to leave. If you ever decide, like, okay, one show was good for me, I want to leave my mark, boom, good, I did it. But this sport will change you. It will change how you view yourself. It'll change how you view food. So if you don't have a great relationship with food, that's normal. That's okay. But make sure it's under control, because trust me, I look at a cookie, I'm like, oh, Jesus. Yep. It's crazy. But understand yourself first. Understand your relationship with food first, and do your research. Don't just jump into this thinking like, oh, I'm about to be badass with this. Yeah, you just may. Just may. But just understand there's going to be someone across the world who is just as badass, if not more badass than you. So just really being realistic with yourself. Hiring a coach. Do your research with your coach. Start local if you have to. Or if you have friends who are within it and they have results, talk to them. Talk to the people who are already in the position that you are in. And like I said, there's so many resources nowadays.
So
use it, especially free resources. Use them.
You can turn yourself into a champion just on YouTube alone.
Literally. Again,
are there any red flags they should avoid? Like, what are some ones that you go, like, everyone that's more experienced or has like a lot of experience in the industry, it's something you're just like, I don't know how people still fall for this. Yes. Like, what are some red flags people should look out for just in general in the whole sport, coaching, things like that?
I'm over the whole, like, oh, get glutes in 8 weeks. Like, can we stop? Can we stop?
Everyone's
doing that?
A glute expert.
Literally,
now.
I'm just like, maybe this program is not best for you. It's just it's not a one size fit all. That's literally, understand, bodybuilding is not one size fit all. So those, honestly, the coaches who haven't put up their results on their social media page, you can promote yourself by saying X, Y, and Z, but we want to see the facts. We want to see the results. So if I'm not seeing what Sally over here looks like, what Joe over here looks like, how do I know you can produce results with me? So again, red flag, social media. If they're not putting out their results, what can they really do? So,
there was, those really are great tips for people. Another one that I've heard in general too are coaches and this is actually came from a coach that's not a bodybuilding coach, but it's just a good coaching tip to look out for too.
Yeah.
Is if they turn more into blamers than they do into finding solutions. Because I meet a lot of coaches that, every program's supposed to be customized around the individual.
Yes, absolutely.
And, there's people change and they have hard routines and stuff. And then there's coaches that just go, well, you're not getting results because you're not listening instead of trying to find ways.
Exactly.
And that was always a pretty big red flag for me.
Exactly.
I've worked with coaches. I've never hired a coach. Like we usually end up working together just as friends or, trying new stuff. But that was always one that I would be like,
exactly.
You're taking this a little too personal.
Right.
Like you're supposed to be helping me.
Exactly.
Now we're arguing.
Right. I'm like, no, that doesn't happen. I have a couple of my athletes on my roster. They're in the Army. So, they're on their feet all day, every day. So obviously the recovery for their legs it's null and void. Like they're just on the go. So I've had to literally sit down with them, map out their schedule, see what's going to be best for their recovery and say, all right, well, guess what? We're going to do 2 days on, 2 days off, see how that works out for us. And sure enough, we've been seeing results from that. So again, everybody's not going to have the same program. If a client comes to you with something, listen, they're not usually trying to tell you how to do our job. They're literally saying, I'm providing this information so you can help me. Yep. So literally. So
no, I mean, it's really just knowledge. Knowledge is so important, especially in the fitness industry. And something I'm always pushing on this show is get educated. Never stop learning.
Exactly.
And, I just get so tired of seeing people fall in the same trap. And I will be the first to say I'm no expert. I'm just another average gym rat. And I want to bring in people that are much smarter than me and have these conversations. I'm learned so much about bodybuilding today. I'm excited. It was one of the things I was excited about having you in was like, I've been around the sport so much, but I have no clue about anything in it. And so, just when I would be at those shows, I'd be like, what is happening?
Yes.
What is like the Class A? I never knew what that was. I was just like, go over there. And, so no, that's great. And I think that's important for people to know. I hope a lot of people take away from that. And so, because God, I get so many questions. I believe I have no idea.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't know.
I get people message me all the time on the AFC page that are like, "Do you know any good coaches? Like, do you think I should do this?" I'm like, "Why are you asking me?" Like,
I'll direct you here.
Like, I want to help you, but I'm not sure. So, so do you have like what's I know you say you're slowly getting into routine. When is the next Olympia, or are you even going to try to go to the next one?
Oh, absolutely.
That's your goal.
Absolutely, that's always a goal.
I know some people have pushed them off like a year.
This is true. This is true. And we literally, when we sat down and talked about it after, because due to, the whole COVID situation and having to change the schedule of all the shows, last year's Olympia was in Orlando in October. So it's going to go back to December, or it's going to go back to Las Vegas in December this year. It's going to be real dope. So I can't wait for that. Because
I still haven't been.
I haven't. You haven't. Stop.
I haven't gone yet.
Stop.
I was going to go to the Arnold, but I haven't.
Yeah. You're going to love it. You're going to fall in love with it even more. You will. I promise you. But yeah, we're definitely going to shoot for that. But we basically sat down and discussed, like, we're just going to take it month by month, see how we feel. And if the blood work comes back to seeing what we want to see, then okay, let's go and rock with it. And sure enough, it's like I said before, night and day. Yep. So we're on the right path.
So are you have any shows planned prior to Olympia too? I mean, obviously you have to qualify, but are you going to only do one, or you have to do a couple?
So we're probably going to do the same schedule as what we did last year, the Tampa Pro, obviously in Tampa. That is going to be August 6th, I think. And then a week right after that, again, same routine as last year, the Texas Pro in Irving, Texas. So yeah.
Those are good ones.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, they and so with that, outside of it, do you have any like long-term plans? Because bodybuilding is a sport that has a means to an end.
Yes.
It is very difficult and very unlikely, especially in the pro division, for these guys to continue to go past a certain time frame.
Yeah.
So what do you know what you want to do once the competing days are over?
Yeah. I want to still be within the industry somehow, some way. And like just seeing how people are putting on seminars, and I would love to be a judge. But I know I can't be considered for that right now until I make it to that stage and prove myself like, okay, she's won the O, she knows what she's talking about, she's doing this, she's doing that. So I have to obviously there's levels, so I have to reach that next level. But I would love to be a judge. Love to be a judge. Love to work with posing.
I can see you doing all that.
Yeah,
too.
I would love it. Love it. So it would. I still get a little piece of my heart with it. It's just not me competing, because I know, again, I want a family. I don't know how much longer I want to, compete. I still want to definitely earn my way to the top and hopefully win the Olympia one day. But just being realistic with myself and my own life goals, I still definitely want to have that component of bodybuilding still wrapped up in that. So,
No, that's great. I think I can see you being a judge, having the polo, doing that.
Okay, yeah.
I've been around. It was fun too, because like when we first met and did all that, I was around all these people that the bodybuilding industry admires. I had no idea who they were. I'd be sitting with them. I think I remember last summer.
You told me that.
I was like, I was hanging out with this guy, and you're like, what? And I was like,
you don't know him?
Just recent, last year, November, me and Terrence Ruffin.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember you saw us. Me and him ended up going to a bar. I thought he was a photographer.
No.
I didn't know he was like one of the best posers in the industry.
Yes.
He had his camera, and we were just like, you know who Terrence is? Yeah.
Right. He's dope. He's dope.
I had no clue. And he just had his camera. I was like, oh, he's probably a photographer. So we went. He brought his camera with him and all this. It wasn't until like the next day. They're like, he's like,
you were like, oh,
one of the best in the world.
Okay,
I'm
good
like,
to know. Literally,
last 2 years?
Literally, yeah. Right behind.
And then he posed in Dallas when we were there, and I was like,
epic.
What the hell?
He knows his shit. I love it.
It was so great. And so then on top of that too. So what is there? Are you gonna stay in Austin too after? Or do you miss home?
I love Kentucky, but I'm so family oriented. I love the fact that my career right now allows me to travel. I love Austin. Like I said, there's so many opportunities. I would love to be in Dallas. I would love possibly to be in Houston. Yeah, I love Texas. I do. But I could see myself home in Dallas. I really could. Who knows? Who knows what happens?
Like Dallas? I love Austin.
Do you?
I love.
I love it. But
you're kind of up in Georgetown though.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
Well, where am I at? I'm right by the Domain. But I mean,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, yeah.
For me.
It's just that's where I train. But yeah. And plus I have to get out more. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a homebody. I love to be at home. I love watching Netflix. I love chilling, just hanging with friends. But best. When it goes, it takes a lot for me to go downtown and go out to a bar. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's gotten drastically different in the past couple of years too.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, I mean, that's another thing is with the bodybuilding, and it's probably another good tip for people that are considering getting into it is say bye to that. Like, it's a lifestyle. Yeah. And it's a real big reason that, obviously with all my friends doing it and everyone I knew, like I started getting like that. I was man, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should try it out. And then I was
like, nah, I'm good. No. And you can do it. I think that's one of the things because I promised myself as well. I was like, this year I'm not going to let bodybuilding hold me back from memories. That's why at the end of this month or next month I'm going to Peru for one of my sorority sisters. 30th birthday. I don't want to miss out on those opportunities. Any weddings, like I'm just going to have to pack my food. So be it. I'm still going to be there celebrating my friends' union of love. So it can still be done, but to the point of where like you can still manage your own goals and responsibilities. So
I mean it is a lifestyle. It's probably one of the few sports out there where there's not really in the off season, but that off season is it's not. Is it an off season? Right? And we still on it. So it's pretty nuts. And
exactly.
So, with that, like what was it? God, I had a good question I wanted to ask you. But I just forgot.
So okay. It'll come back.
Yeah, at some point will. But so with everything going on too, how do you think? Did you think that COVID got more people involved in bodybuilding, or do you think it kind of scared people off?
I think it got more people involved into getting active. I think with just being able to have so much time at home and figuring for mental sake, like what can I do to make sure that I'm good? People got out walking more. People found ways to go to the park and get active. So I think COVID allowed people to see that we were wasting a lot of time just chilling and watching the next best Netflix series. Like, no, get out and get active. Walk your dog. Like, quit using Instacart. Like actually walk around the grocery store.
I like walking around the grocery store.
I love it so much. So I feel like this thing is like falling off. But
it happens.
So yeah, I feel like it's pushed them more into fitness. But then once people started to see like the results that came from that, it's like, oh, well, what more can I do with this? So it kind of opened their mind a little bit, and some possibly led them to bodybuilding. So yeah,
I've seen people get into bodybuilding because at first it simply started off as just a weight loss goal. They wanted to jump on stage, and then it became like something it becomes an addiction. I've noticed that after one show they don't want to stop. And so do you think that like I know that there's other organizations, but I'm not really sure like what the difference is, because there's like NPC, which is kind of top dog, then there's GBO, NFF, OBO, there's
OCB, there's NGA. Some of those are more of the natural competitions where they will literally test you right as soon if you win. They'll be like, all right, Josh, I need you to go ahead and take this peak up and do your thing. Like that's literally what it is. So there's those shows, but like again with NPC, IFBB, you just compete.
Those are the best ones.
It is.
Those people look.
It is. I mean, be biased, but I mean, it is.
It's tough. I mean, the GBO is pretty solid.
Yeah,
they're growing pretty fast. It's good for that. There's such a different demographic. It's the same sport.
Yeah,
but it's a very like night and day difference of what you're looking at. And so do you have any? Is there anything that you'd want to see in the sport change?
The gap of money made or given. I think, and I may be off.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, it's bodybuilders, they are getting, I mean, like the winner, close, we'll just round it up, close to $500,000, if not more. Okay. And then I would say like, I think Sarah Villegas, she won the Olympia. She $50K. So you're talking $50K from $500,000. But we're both putting our bodies under extreme stress, an entire prep. I'm sorry, like there needs to be something there.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's actually a pretty good topic to bring up because there's always this discussion of like pay differences. And I think this is kind of a unique situation because I'm not on board with like the WNBA, they're not getting paid anywhere near the NBA, but it's because no one really watches the WNBA.
Exactly.
So you can't really fault them for that. And then, but with bodybuilding, everyone's competing in the same show.
Yeah.
So that does kind of strike me as kind of odd. Something I never thought about, that you're in the same show, you're doing the same stuff. What are we missing here? Like, why is someone that's winning this category not making as much as someone making this? That's kind of strange to me.
And I wanted to hear from an outsider, and I said, what is it? What are you looking for? Like, why would you go to this show? Because usually the Saturday shows are more popular than that of the Friday shows if it's a 2-day show.
Well, Friday's still a work day.
It's right, but usually they'll put the heavy hitters. They'll put what they know. Promoters know, if I put the bodybuilders, the 212, money's going to come. People are going to come because they want to see, I hate to say it like this, but they want to see the freaks of the show.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to be the big guys. But that's why females bodybuilding, that's why that kind of got a little bad, name to it, because people are like, we don't want to see women with all that mass. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, like they're doing something that I'm sorry, you wish you could do. Like, give them the respect that they deserve.
Absolutely.
So I love that they are actually, the league is pushing for more ambassadors of women's bodybuilding and pushing more exposure for them. But why aren't they getting the same? Why isn't figure? Why isn't, it's just, I don't know.
Didn't Arnold get rid of one of those categories coming up?
Women's physique.
So what was the deal behind that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
He just said, not this show. Have you heard any rumors, Alex?
I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I honestly like the women's physique and that.
And
I think, it's not even a whole like, ooh, gross.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's very interesting. Like,
Absolutely.
it's nice to see, these women that are jacked, but they're not like grossly jacked. Like, they have a very still,
there's
like,
still femininity involved. Yeah.
It's not like a disgusting thing anywhere clear. And so, no, that's a good point. I wonder why Arnold would eliminate a category that is very popular. And then why, the Olympia, obviously I'd have to dive deep into seeing why that they would, pay the heavy hitter men and stuff more than women. Yeah. Because that does strike me odd that, because it's the same show.
It's the same show.
And a lot of these women, like, I see more women, especially on the page that I have, people are always posting their motivators, things like that. Yeah. And it's definitely in favor of women. Women are always hyping up other women way more, or motivated by them, especially. Men are obviously, they admire a lot of these more bigger men like the Bumsteads and Phil Heath and stuff, but it's so much more dominant in the women category. So I don't see why, and it is good that you said that they're pushing it, but I don't see why that they would not pay people the same. But I'll have to look into it more and get kind of a better understing of it from the promoter aspect. Because I do have a lot of problems, and I've talked to you about it in the past too. I don't have to go into it, but I do have a lot of problems with the business aspect of the sport. And
because at the end of it, it's a sport, but it's still a business. It's still a business.
There are things that I would do a lot different. I think a lot of it has to do with greed. Just from the business aspect, because people like whenever like they hear me go on these rants about bodybuilding, I have zero problem. I think the sport is amazing. I think that it's a very beautiful art form based sport. I think the athletes are awesome. I think that they work harder probably than any other athletic sport that I've seen, and they're all really great people too. But the business side of it is where I am totally against. And I think it kind of comes down to that too. Like I think that they could take better care of athletes. I think the paydays should be bigger because there is like these athletes put themselves through hell just to go on stage and get like 30 nothing. Seconds. Get nothing. And I'm like, there's no way you can convince me to do a 12-week like hardcore transformation and go on stage and get nothing for winning too of all things. Exactly. I'm like, that is dedication. That is where I always tell people, this is a lifestyle. They do it because they truly love the sport. And I think that that's where I would do differently. If I was ever given a show, if I could throw an Austin fitness community like bodybuilding show, you can bet. That's what I'm saying. You bet I'm paying everyone first. I try to do that too, but in due time, we'll see what happens because that'd be kind of fun, right? Maybe we'll put the Ashley Jones pro on.
Let me win an Olympia first.
Man, I tell you what, anyone that wants to talk shit about bodybuilders or women, go work out with them because
your mind will be changed.
I got humbled real quick one day doing shoulders with Jessica. I just gave up. I said, you were out of your mind.
Have it.
This is your day. I couldn't even lift my arms. Well, it's also great too because you do learn a lot of really awesome accessory work.
Absolutely.
Like some stuff you can add to your workout because I think a lot of people do just get stuck in their routine. Go train with a bodybuilder and you'll learn some new workouts. Great.
Game over.
You'll be getting some pumps you never thought you could get.
I like this.
Right? I love it. So, well, I think that kind of wraps a lot of the questions and stuff I had up as well. I mean, I learned way more than I probably learned in past. I'm so happy you could come. You are one of my favorite people. I was super excited.
Mutual.
I know you came and checked the place out when I first got it done. And so how, for people listening, how can they find or what are some of the plugs where they can find you on social media, coaching, inquiries, things like that?
Absolutely.
Where do people find you?
Yes. So definitely on Instagram at Ivy Strong, IVYSTRONG 2, the number 2. Again, my name is Ashley Jones, not Ivy. And then if you click on my bio, there's a link and it'll take you right to my coaching services page. And you can definitely apply there for, application.
What coaching services do you offer?
So one-on-one coaching. Obviously, if you want to do lifestyle client where you just literally just focus on getting your life back on track and getting back to consistent routine, we can definitely rock with that. Competition prep, obviously, if you want to step on stage, I can rock with that with you as well. So weight loss, anything, I got you. I got you.
Well, I do appreciate you coming.
I appreciate
I was super excited. You're the first female we've had on.
Come on.
I've been trying.
Come on.
I get asked all the time, hey, why don't you have more girls on there? I'm like, dude.
We're here. I'm
inviting everyone. I want all the peeps on here.
Absolutely.
I was super excited that you were able to make it because I know schedules are tight. So, but we'll run it back in the future. And I'm sure I'll see you again probably this week. I'm always bouncing around. But on that note, I guess, Alex, you take us out.
Peace.